paying a visit to Tallahassee to take on the Seminoles of Florida State. And greetings, hello, Tom Block along with Barry Milligan. Glad you're back for the start of another volleyball season here on Sunshine from Florida State territory. It really is the start of a new era, Barry, for Florida State's volleyball team, because Cecile Renaud, who's been here since the mid-70s, no longer in charge of the program.
You're exactly right, Tom. You know, we have done dozens and dozens of matches here on Sunshine Network from the days of Maggie Filchins, Gabby Reese. The one constant has been Cecile Renaud on that Seminole sideline. Now, obviously, her presence is still here in terms of the players that do remain, but it's a little strange being in Tully for volleyball without Cecile.
Let's take a look at what the new coach, Todd Kress, has inherited. Pretty veteran team in terms of 5 returning starters, including 4 seniors.
Boy, and just a ton of talent there. Erica Bunch is off to a great start. Dawn Huff has battled foot problems, but she is coming off maybe her best match against Jacksonville. Fryan Seviano, Jen Anderson, the quarterback of this team. Maybe one of the surprises, as you saw there, sophomore Aisha Carr. They're a little thin in the middle this year for Florida State. In the offseason, Aisha was moved from the outside to the middle, and she's made great progress.
Florida State has played 4 matches so far. They are 2-2 as they enter this contest tonight against Oregon. Let's take a look at how they started off. They dropped the first 2 and then have recovered since then.
Well, as we were talking about, you know, bad, bad, good, good. They were in the Illinois State tournament there, dropped one to Illinois and Alabama. They came back, though, with a solid win over Marshall and then really hammered Jacksonville, and that gives this team a lot of confidence coming in here after a 6-day layoff.
Oregon is on a lengthy road trip. They will enter play tonight with a record of 6-2. Florida State has never, ever defeated a Pac-10 opponent. They'll try to do so tonight. We will set the starting lineups, serve up the volleyball from Tallahassee right after this on Sunshine. This presentation of Florida State women's volleyball on Sunshine Network is being brought to you by Steak 'n Shake, famous for steak burgers.
You have the ultimate power to look better, to be stronger, to redefine your body and yourself. Introducing the Bowflex Ultimate. Quite possibly the best home fitness machine ever made. In as little as 20 minutes a day, 3 times a week, you can get real results that can change your entire body. With over 90 health club quality exercises and up to 410 pounds of resistance, it's like having an entire gym in your home. Bowflex is so effective that we guarantee you'll get the results you want in 6 weeks or less. Own the new Bowflex Ultimate with no money down and monthly payments lower than many health club dues. Call and ask for a free video and brochure, and check out the entire Bowflex lineup, or visit us on the web at bowflexultimate.com today. The new Bowflex for ultimate results.
The network that's first in Florida sports. You're watching Sunshine Network.
We're at Lucy McDaniel Volleyball Arena, Tully Gymnasium on the campus of Florida State. The Oregon Ducks in town to battle Florida State. Tom Block and Barry Milligan back with you. The visitors on a lengthy road trip, and distant one too, as they are far from their home in Oregon. Coached by Carl Ferreira, his 3rd year in charge of the Ducks program, 9th year overall as a head coach, 173 wins and counting. Here is the starting lineup for the visitors. Bell will set things up, and then you see Blank and Kloss as a good middle blocker. Russell Murphy and Gilmore round out the starting lineup. Erica Widmark will be the libero for Oregon. For Florida State, the home team, a change, as we have noted. They are coached by Todd Kress, his 1st year in charge of the Florida State program, 8th year as a head coach overall, 154 wins and counting. Previously at Fairfield and Northern Illinois. Was the MAC Coach of the Year last year, as a matter of fact. His starting lineup: Jen Anderson back to set again, Carr, Huff, Fry, Alex Seviano, and Erica Bunch. A lot of experience in that starting lineup for Florida State. The Noles 2-2, the Ducks 6-2. To officiate things upstairs, it'll be Crystal Lewis as the up official, the #1 referee, and her partner tonight is Kim Wisham, who is the down official for this volleyball match. So early in the season, Barry, for Florida State, 2-2, and it's going to be a growing process this year for Florida State. As we look at the all-time series, there's not much of one. Way back in 1974, Oregon won in 3 games in the AIAW National Tourney. But Florida State's going to need some time to grow into the system at Todd Kress, and each match out is a learning opportunity for him.
That's exactly right, and it is a faster-paced system than the Seminoles were used to under Cecile Renat. And one good thing, Tom, you know, we looked at the schedule at the top of the broadcast here. They've had 6 days off, but that has been excellent in terms of their ability to get a lot of practice time in, and they had a 4-hour practice on Saturday and felt very good about the progress that was made.
And they pick up the first point of the match. Oregon served it up, but Florida State takes point number 1. Again, rally scoring, games to 30. That switch made to the international rule last couple of years. Jen Anderson has been a starter since her freshman year, and she puts it in play for FSU. Whistle on Oregon, and it'll be a point to Florida State.
Double hit called on Jody Bell, one of the 2 freshmen, Bell and Russell. Now, don't be too fooled just because they are freshmen. Bell and Russell played club volleyball together and are very, very experienced with each other's style.
Could not connect on that sequence right there. Bell, the freshman center. Sydney Chute is also on this team and has been the setter for the last couple of years for this Oregon team, but we're seeing Bell run the show right now.
And we're seeing a little ragged play from Oregon coming out here in the very first game.
Block at the net, and Florida State mishandles it, so Oregon will pick up its first point.
As State called for the double hit there. You'll notice one player on either side with a different colored jersey. That is the main rules change in collegiate volleyball here in the 2002 season. The position is called a libero, basically a defensive position. That player not allowed to serve or attack, but a very important player. Serena Pele in that position you see there with the garnet jersey on the Florida State side. Erica Widmark, her counterpart for Oregon.
Ball receiving error for Florida State led to the point for Oregon, and that one drops over. That was one of the rule changes a couple of years ago too.
Yep. That ball is in play much like collegiate tennis. They play lets are good, and that can drive you crazy.
Lindsey Murphy with the jump serve, and the libero for Florida State lets it sail wide. 4-3 FSU.
Here's Erica Bunch. They were not even sure Erica Bunch was going to be able to play volleyball this season. She suffered an accident on a jet ski back in the summertime. It knocked all of her front teeth out. She has undergone 15 hours of surgery, and it's a little unusual here. She has a mask, a goalie type mask. They call her Hannibal when she wears the thing, and she is not wearing it here tonight. But Erica has had surgery as recently as 6 weeks ago.
It's really a remarkable comeback for Bunch, who's been a part of this program for the last several years. 4-4 our score, a joust at the net, and Florida State keeps it alive outside. Kristen Fry, one of 4 seniors on the team, will win the point for FSU.
And Kristen Fry, when she gets hot, she can be as dangerous as anybody on this Florida State club. And State has some weapons, as we've seen in the last couple of years, from Fry and Alex Sevillano, Dawn Huff.
Good play at the net by Alex Sevillano, but Oregon recovered. Sevillano really couldn't do a whole lot with that.
Well, it was a tight set, and Sevillano was late getting there, and Jody Bell, you saw the freshman all over the play right there, and that is Sevillano getting roofed, and the side out with a score tied at 5.
Lauren Westendorf has checked in for Diana Blank on the Oregon side. Anderson to Fry, and the big swing dug by the Ducks. Florida State reloads, and Sevillano fires it down.
And Tom, that was a beautiful play on 2 counts. Sevillano, with the reception of the serve, made a great pass with it. And then you see here, Pele keeps it alive. The libero with a beautiful pass, and the set, and Sevillano with an inside-out kill.
Nobody's going to chase that down for the Ducks, and Florida State leads by 2. Fry is from Fort Wayne, Indiana, Northrop High School. Been a key member of this team the last couple of years. Started the last 2 years for Florida State. And very good at the serve. You can see Oregon having trouble.
Yeah, passing problems again. Sevillano not able to get a lot on that.
Free ball for Florida State, over on 1, and some sloppy play results in a point for the Ducks.
Well, and that's where you see Florida State got out of the system. You know, Todd Kress wants a faster paced system, but you have to keep it within your game plan right there, and going over in one is not the game plan when the center is so crowded.
Well, FSU got away with one there on the overpass, and Oregon blew the chance. It's 8-6 FSU.
You won't see that very often. Lindsey Kloss, the most dangerous offensive player on the Oregon team, nearly whiffed.
Touched at the net. And then Sevillano needed about 3 more inches on that as she hit the tape.
Again, Alex just a little bit late. Let that ball fall, and on the back attack, hit it just off the tape.
Here is Kloss that you spoke of, one of 2 returning starters in the middle for this Oregon team.
Great eye from Serena Pele, recognizing that ball was going wide, and it was just wide.
Aisha Carr's a sophomore from Dallas. Played in just 7 matches a year ago.
Hey, you're right, Tom, and I'm going to tell you, you talk about filling big shoes. Naisha Campbell, arguably the best player Florida State has ever had, filled the middle last year, unlike maybe any other player ever has. And Aisha Carr trying to evolve into that middle position, and she's done a nice job in just a sophomore season.
Well, and before Naisha, it was Aisha Thornton who was in the middle too, so there have been some good middles for Florida State. 10-8 Knowles. Jenna Anderson moves back to serve for the 2nd time. Moving up the all-time assist list at Florida State, and that'll move her up the ace list there.
That was a great serve, drilled right in front of the defensive specialist for Oregon. Whitmark was very, very late coming up and giving it a shot. Oh, that's a beautiful job. Lindsey Murphy keeping that one alive for the Ducks.
But Florida State sets up Dawn Huff, and she finishes it off for the point. It's 12-8 FSU.
Here we see again Dawn. You see the brace on her right ankle. She's had foot problems ever since last year. She's not able to do the full range of drills. They keep her away from the suicide drills, but she does a lot of cardiovascular stuff, spends a lot of time on the bike, and is able to do pretty much everything except the suicides, because they want to protect that foot as much as possible.
Had a stress fracture in that right ankle last year. Had a knee problem her freshman year too, so she has been bit by the injury bug a couple of times during her FSU career. Oregon wins the point. They've shaved off 2 in a row and shaved off 2 points from that 4-point FSU lead. Lindsey Murphy jump serves us into play. And Kristen Fry runs into all kinds of trouble.
Kelly Russell, the 6'1" freshman, as I mentioned, a veteran of outstanding club play. And that's something that Oregon has tried to do in recruiting better athletes from the West Coast to try and compete in the Pac-10, which is, you know, probably the #1 volleyball conference in America. As you see Erica Bunch on the attack off the block and out of bounds, and Florida State wins the point.
Yeah, Oregon tried to lobby that it just hit the tape, but the officials wouldn't have it. Double block, and Florida State forces Oregon to reload, and that one never came over.
And Heather Gilmore late on her attack too, not much on the elevation, and hit that one right into the middle of the net.
3-point lead for FSU, and the Knowles will be a good chance there.
Gilmore again. She had a problem receiving the serve and then hit it into the net again.
15-11, Florida State leads game 1 by 4. We're back to Tully Gym in just a moment.
This is the rarest U.S. $20 gold piece and the single most valuable coin ever struck. Our Treasury Department estimates it's worth at up to $8 million. When President Roosevelt ordered the destruction of gold coins in 1933, one single coin escaped meltdown. Then it was sealed in a vault at the World Trade Center. Again, the Double Eagle escaped fate when it was moved to Fort Knox only 8 months before the terror attack. Soon it will become the single most valuable coin ever struck. To mark this historic event, National Collectors Mint has released its 1933 Double Eagle proof. It's the rarest U.S. government $20 gold piece as a 10 mil pure gold proof. And it can be yours for just $19.95 while supplies last. Strict limit of 5 proofs per caller. Call now.
To order your 1933 Gold Double Proof, call 1-800-787-8844. That's 1-800-787-8844. Strict limit of 5 proofs per caller. Call now.
Florida State at the halfway point of game 1 with a 4-point lead over Oregon, 15-11. The Noles 2-2, and one of the points came on this beautiful serve from Jen Anderson.
You see the Oregon receiving line absolutely frozen there, and Jen Anderson drilled it. That one falling right in front of Diana Blank for an ace there. One of the 15 points Florida State has here at the midway point.
Anderson's mom is a high school volleyball coach, but not her coach. She never played for her mom. She coached at a rival high school as that one goes into the net, and Oregon picks up a cheap one as Erica Bunch can't put it over.
Substitution now for Oregon. The libero, remember, cannot serve, so Widmark goes out and Kelly Russell will come in.
From Vancouver, Washington. There was some serious mustard on that swing right there.
Well, that was, again, started by an excellent pass from Erica Bunch. And a line shot for Sevillano that is outside the block attempt of Jody Bell.
4-point lead, Florida State. Dawn Huff serves back middle. And another chance for Florida State on really a free ball situation. They'll come to Alex Sevillano off the net. Dug nicely by the Ducks.
Oh, and another mistake for Oregon. I tell you, Tom, I like the strategy right here of going to Sevillano. If you get Alex hot and she really starts swinging, I mean, Florida State has the capability of going on a 5, 6, 7-point run right there and, you know, to blow this game 1 out of here. You have to worry, I think, if you're the Seminoles a little bit about playing down to the competition. Oregon has played a very sloppy game here leading off, and Florida State doesn't want to get into a situation where they're getting out of their own system.
Florida State picks up another one now, and it's 18-12. We've seen Alex Sevillano for years. When she gets hot, she really does get hot.
And you talk about an essay of how I spent my summer vacation. How about spending time with her dad in the Canary Islands and then studying in Spain? That makes for a nice essay.
Yeah, that's not too bad. Oregon stops the run there. The Ducks have changed setters. Sydney Chute in there now to set things up in an effort to try and clean up the play a little bit. Chute has been around this program, the lone returning setter on the team, and she's an experienced player for Oregon.
Beautiful job going to the middle attack. Oregon had set up, Tom, on the outsides, looking for the set for the double block on the outside. And a little touch set. Kristen Fry with a nice dink.
Fry is very good at the service line. Floats this one over, and Oregon was ready for it. Caught it off the net. Coming across the court, FSU picks up the point as that was wide.
Just wide on the attack. You know, they got the ball to Lindsey Kloss a couple of points ago, and she made a beautiful swing on it, then they don't come back to her. They have got to get Kloss more involved in this offense.
That almost looked like it was mishandled on the serve reception. No whistle, though, and doesn't matter anyway, as FSU will take the point.
There's Aisha Carr. Again, it's Florida State coming with a middle attack. They expected Oregon to come and attack the middle because of Florida State's inexperience there with Carr, but that time Carr turns the tables.
That's the old little slide there that we saw for years with Jen Anderson and Naisha, who was an all-ACC pick of last year. Naisha Campbell, the only starter not back on this FSU team. 5 other starters, or the other 5 starters return, I should say. Blocked at the net. The Ducks will win the point in the serve.
And you might wonder if Florida State's 2-2 record with 5 returning starters back, but it's always a transition. It's just like, you know, you get a new head coach that in football with a new offensive scheme, and it takes your talent time to adapt to that. And Florida State is in that adapting process, but again, they feel good about the progress they're making of late.
Oregon feels pretty good about that sequence right there because it's about the best one they've had so far in this match.
You're exactly right. Clean pass, nice set, and who else? Lindsey Kloss. They got her in the middle attack, and she buried it.
Sevillano tries to do the same and answer back for Florida State, and she does. Sevillano, one of the 4 seniors, leading returner in kills on this team with 384.
and has a really sweet jump serve that Oregon again had trouble handling.
And they had trouble handling that opportunity right there, and it's 23-15.
Jacqueline Jones, a freshman from Fort St. John, British Columbia, getting some action there, and again trying an inside-out hit there and almost missed it completely.
Florida State leads 23-15 as we take a break. Seminole fans, where do you get your regional sports news? Well, tune into the state's only source, Nextel Florida Sports News. You can join my partner Barry Milligan and myself weeknights at 10. Coming up tonight on the show, how will Sean Kemp fit in with the Orlando Magic? We'll address that and much more. It's the complete regional sports news you're looking for when you tune into Sunshine Network weeknights at 10 for Nextel Florida Sports News. Barry and I are going to test the theory that you can't be in two places at once tonight on Sunshine. Watch Alex Sevillano.
The jump set, those two have just great communication. That is a beautiful set from Jen Anderson, and Sevillano has really warmed up here in the first game and given Florida State a commanding lead.
She was in the top 10 in the ACC last year in aces and digs. Was second on the Florida State team in digs.
Stay up.
And basically has played every game FSU's played for the last 2 years.
And again, really dangerous off the serve here. This is another situation where, you know, Oregon has had problems with its receiving. Sevillano gets that jump serve rolling like that and creates, you know, bad passing. Florida State could conceivably close this thing out.
Erica Bunch and her eyes just lit up on that one. The old overpass, and you just jump all over it if you're in the front row.
And she did.
Volleyball players dream of that one when they're getting ready to line up in the middle, and that was a perfect set. 23-17 our score as Lindsey Kloss, the senior from Spokane, will show us her jump serve. Aisha Carr had to run a long way to chase that one down. The Ducks keep it alive, and up top, Erica Bunch pulled out of the way. Did not touch it. It's a point to Florida State.
And State got a little lucky there, Tom, that crawled across the top of the net the way it did. Jones had a good swing on it.
Going back deep, that good placement there, and Oregon picks up the point.
It was right on the line. Nothing that Sevillano could do to try and come up with that.
Erica Widmark, the libero today. Transferred to Oregon last year. Diana Blank, one of the starters, serving it up. Bunch runs into trouble at the net, but it lands out, so it's a point for Florida State.
Well, with Chute and Russell, they had the double block set up nicely, but couldn't control it and bring it back into the court. Kristen Fry right there, too, to make sure that thing did not stay in play.
That just barely made it over the net, and eventually Bunch gets set up. In the middle comes Oregon. That is long, and it's a point for Florida State. 4 points from game one.
Again, the freshman, Kelly Russell, just a little bit out of control as she tried to rotate her body in midair virtually and be able to get a positive attack. Not able to do it. Now FSU 3 points away.
Carl Ferreira, his third year at Oregon, 9th year overall. Was at Cal Bakersfield and also at Idaho for the last few years before moving over to Oregon. Look at the hitting percentage.
Well, it's just terrible communication. Two of the Oregon players that were back to receive that serve ran into each other.
28 points for Florida State, 18 for Oregon. The hitting percentage really told the story there. FSU over 300, and if you're at 0, that's not a good thing. They come over on 2 and catch Florida State napping right there, and that's a heads-up play by a senior setter in City Chute.
Exactly right, Tom. As you see there, the block was set up in the middle, but Dawn Huff a little flat-footed there and got caught by surprise.
That one is mishandled on the serve, and point number 20 for Oregon. Heather Gilmore happy to oblige as Lindsey Murphy will serve again. overpassed as well, and some service reception problems right now for Florida State.
Yep. FSU having the same problems that Oregon has had throughout this first game right now. And here's where you can't lose focus. You get within a couple of points of the game and you relax just a little bit, and that'll cause errors. Then again,
no errors on that particular sequence though for Florida State.
Kristen Fry with a line shot gives Florida State game point.
And Erica Bunch will try to close it out for FSU. Back middle, set up in the middle, into the block, but kept alive for FSU. Sevillano sends it over. And again, Oregon comes back, as that was a good opportunity. FSU really couldn't mount much of an offensive attack.
Well, Kristen Fry did a great job of keeping that alive off her shoulder there and giving State the opportunity there. But excellent play by the freshman. Again, Kelly Russell, she hit it right through the block.
See what FSU has here. Oregon with the dig in the middle. They try to drop it over. Jen Anderson will set it up, and there's your finish from Dawn Huff, and Florida State takes game one 30-22.
Tell you, obviously Oregon did not play a very sharp game one right there though, but Florida State was very impressive with its middle attack.
30-22. We're back for game two to Tully Gym in just a moment as the Noles break on top by taking the first game.
Welcome to Boxburger. Welcome to Boxburger. Welcome to Boxburger.
If you can't hold the menu in your hands, you're not in a restaurant.
Why doesn't just any burger have the crispy edges a steak burger does? Maybe it's because their grill isn't as hot as ours. Maybe it's because they don't use the steak cuts. Or maybe it's because I don't work there.
Steak and Shake, famous for steak burgers.
Your sports news. Lightning, Miracle, Magic, Noles, Knights, Gators. Nextel, Florida Sports News. Tonight at 10.
When the Navy sought a power source for a new generation of ship, we had the right energy. When the nation called for better hurricane forecasting, conditions here were perfect. And when a life-saving cancer drug was in short supply, we had the right chemistry. How fast do ideas move? At the speed of imagination. Florida State University. Ideas that move.
Welcome back. We are in Tallahassee. It is election day, of course, as we are in Florida's capital city. And one game in the books. Florida State leads at 1-0 as we get set for game two.
I think, Tom, that Florida State, by and large, has stuck with the game plan. They wanted to control the ball. And here again, Aisha Carb on a nice slide, as you said, reminiscent of what we saw an awful lot last year from Big Nye and Jen Anderson, and again what we have seen a lot of over the last couple of years. That time Alex Sevillano choosing not to go down the line, but she has a great ability for that inside out hit that really keeps defenses off balance.
Sevillano from Clearwater, matter of fact, helped her high school team to a 5A state title in '97 and a runner-up finish in the state of Florida in '96.
And the one thing here, you know, Oregon is not among the upper echelon teams in the Pac-10. They are really struggling for respectability. Trying very slowly is Carl Ferreira to get himself into a respectable position in the Pac-10. And this is after seeing game one here. I mean, this is a match that Florida State should very well win. They should now know that they're better than this team, and we'll see the killer instinct of this club, Tom, and I'm anxious to see how they come out here in game two. If they, you know, relax a little bit and perhaps take something for granted and lose a little of that focus, or if they really get that killer instinct and put this team away.
Florida State, as we take a look at the numbers, obviously has the big edge here. 16 kills to 10 for FSU. No blocks for the Noles on this one, but they won the aces. The service errors even, the hitting errors were not. Sloppier play for Oregon, no doubt, from the start, particularly early in the match. They changed setters and tightened things up a little bit.
Yeah, Dawn Huff hit .750 3 for 4 attacks in that first game. Kristen Fry also outstanding in there. But Dawn, as I mentioned, coming off that Jacksonville University 3-0 win, hit 429 for the match, a season high for her. And again, you know, they have so much experience on this team. If, you know, they start to gel at the right time and start to pick up Todd Kress's new system more and more, this is a team that can be very dangerous.
Jen Anderson is ready to get things started for Florida State. 1,401 assists last year, the 4th best single season total in FSU history. As she climbs the career charge for Florida State. The teams, of course, switch ends, and Florida State will start this game with a pretty good opportunity, and they cash it into a point.
Well, and Oregon starts game 2 the same way they played the entire first game, with passing problems right off the serve. Gave a free ball to FSU, and Kristen Fry with a line shot makes them pay for it.
1-zip Knowles. Anderson continues to serve here to the near side, and again just dropped over. Fry goes over on 2, but a nice play by Widmark in the back row, and it results in a point for Oregon.
That was a nice back row attack there. It caught Florida State a little out of position. Serena Pele, who is back there as the libero, the defensive specialist in the back row, just a step away from being able to possibly dig that out. That's a great Oregon dig by Lindsey Kloss.
And the Ducks pick up the point to take a 2-1 lead.
We see again, they come over into it. They found a hole in that Seminole defense right there.
Jen Anderson sets it up top, and Erica Bunch tried to come all the way across and just never got it over. I mean, she tried to come right down the net. 4 kills for Kloss as she will serve it again. Oregon's lead is 2. Off the net, Pele plays it.
And played it very well.
Bunch was blocked at the net. Here comes Oregon near side. Going down the line is Lindsey Murphy, and Florida State picks up the point.
Katie O'Neill now taking over the libero position for Oregon, in for her first action of the night. She's a sophomore from Gresham, Oregon.
Pele to Anderson to the near side, and Kristen Fry just drops it over.
We have seen great recognition from Fry so far. That's the 3rd time in this match that she has been successful with the touch, recognizing that the Oregon defender is just a step or two too far back on the back line. Gilmore just not able to get there.
Yeah, exactly. A miss hit in the middle on this sequence. Pele with the lunge will lead to a setup for Sevillano, who drops it down, but a great dig by Oregon, but the pancake won't stay in play. There's a familiar face for Tully Gymnasium, Dr. Cecile Renan. Longtime coach, as we have discussed. 26, came to Tallahassee same year as Bobby Bowden did to take over the program.
Lauren Westendorf with a big kill there for Oregon. I'm going to tell you, she is an institution around here, isn't she?
She really is.
Cecile is awesome.
635 wins, as we document, and so well respected across the country in volleyball circles, and certainly at Florida State for all the work that she has done over the years. Pele just throws the hands up in defense and manages to keep it alive for Florida State.
And Dawn Huff keeps it alive and gets it over somehow, and Florida State steals one.
It was just self-defense for Pele, I think, and great play.
Check it again. That's why she's a defensive specialist. Great recognition, beautiful hands.
Serve runs long. We're even at 5. There is Pele.
Just a junior from Gardena, California.
Battling back from a bit of a shoulder injury as she's in there. Boy, that is nice stuff inside. That pumps up the home crowd a little bit as Aisha Carr gets a solid swing.
Aisha showing her hops right here, Tom, off the quick set. They attack the middle again, and Oregon nowhere near being able to set up the defense for that.
Good job by Aisha.
Nice dig by Bunch.
This one falls over, and Florida State will take a 2-point lead.
Well, in that time, again, Jen Anderson, the quarterback of the club, recognizing where the defense wasn't. Nice back set for Kristen Fry. And Oregon's Heather Gilmore, again, very late in getting there.
Going down the line is Oregon, and successfully, as they took advantage of a hole on that side of the defense. Erica Bunch just wasn't far enough over.
We see again, you're right. And Jen Anderson just outsized there against Gilmore, who at 6 feet tall is a presence there as an outside hitter.
In fairness to Erica, that was a pretty well placed shot right down the line.
But one thing, we just haven't seen Oregon do a lot of attacking. They have not had a lot of kill attempts.
Sevillano blocked, but recovers. Will try again and goes to the back row. We'll see if Oregon can attack out of this. Well, from the back row into the net. (8-6) FSU our score. Florida State with 266 wins in Tully Gymnasium over the years.
Well, part of what Todd Kress wanted to do also was serve aggressively, and State has been doing that, especially when they can get around to Sevillano's rotation in the serve.
Jen Anderson goes several feet back of the net to set that up, and Florida State takes a 9-6 lead.
That's a beautiful set. Absolutely beautiful set. 15 feet away from Erica Bunch, and Bunch able to retrieve that and put it away.
Sevillano's jump serve goes out that time, but that truly was a great set. You don't see that too much from Sevillano. Not a lot of jump serves on the Florida State team, or jump servers, whereas just about everybody on this Oregon team goes with that method. Erica Bunch will take that. 10-7 now. Bunch, the first local player to sign with Florida State from south of Tallahassee and Wakulla.
I was talking with Coach Kress before the game time. We have an awfully good record of TV matches here. Florida State generally gets very, very excited, and they play well when we have them here on Sunshine. And the girls were excited again tonight. Erica Bunch is one of those players that really gets geeked up when the cameras are in the house.
Coach Kress will invite us back every match at home if that.
Well, that's what he said. He'd like to have
He'll take us on the road too, I'm sure.
No doubt.
Boy, Anderson just got it over, and Oregon does some serious work to chase that thing down and keep it alive.
Nice job.
All for naught, though, as it's finished in the middle. Well, this is really an indicator of how the rule change affects the game right here. It completely altered this whole sequence.
Just trickles over the net, and I tell you, Oregon just lucky to keep that ball in play as long as they did.
Florida State keeps it in play as we come back to the live action, and Oregon finishes it off. That's a pretty good attack right there.
Yep. One of the few that we've seen, but that's where, again, they don't have Lindsay Kloss in the offense enough. You've got to find her wherever she is on the court right now. She is the one person that really has had her swing on in this match.
Really established herself as a leader of this team last year. Although she gives up the serve and gives the point to Florida State.
Well, in all fairness, too, Oregon coming off a season in which it has to replace its #1 attacker and #1 assist person. So they're really, with a 6-2 record right now, you have to wonder about their level of competition, because they're really struggling here tonight.
Caller Ferreira, again, in his third year there. 12 of the 14 players on the roster are his recruits, though, so he's had a decent chance to get his players in there.
Yep.
Obviously, the longer he's there, the better chance he'll have to make that happen.
Westendorf out, Diana Blank back in.
14-10, Florida State leads it. The Seminoles took game 1 30-22. We pause while they dry the court. Kim Wisham says go ahead and play, and we will. Diana Blank will serve it up. Pele to Anderson, and Kristen Fry will finish things off. 15-10, FSU leads it as we hit the halfway point here of game number 2. Todd Kress looking for win number 3 as the Seminole head coach. We're back to Tallahassee for game 2 action in just a moment here on Sunshine Network.
Steak and Shake Genuine Chili is served in a variety of ways. This one has chili, spaghetti, extra chili beef, special sauce, chopped onions, cheddar, and Monterey Jack cheese, which is why we call it a 5-way.
Steak and Shake, famous for steak burgers.
SunshineNetwork.com is your web source for all your favorite team merchandise. Just log on and go to SunshineNetwork.com to find the Fan Shop, an internet superstore stocked with over 5,000 different products, including team gear from all your favorite Florida teams and more. One click of the mouse and voila, you've sent the perfect gift to the doorstep of your favorite fan. This season, get in the spirit and go get them. Team gear merchandise at SunshineNetwork.com, powered by Football Fanatics.
15-10 Florida State. We say hello to Gregory, Nick Gandy's son. Nick, of course, has worked with Sunshine for a number of years. I'm not sure if he's old enough to vote. He's got the I voted sticker there, but
I know we've had some voting problems in Florida,
but I don't know if that was the specific problem we had here in the state. Nick's bride and son there. Greetings to both of them as we get back to the live action. Florida State gives up the point there, and Oregon down 4, still having a real problem mounting any kind of attack, as you've noted, Barry, hitting 182 now, which is better than game 1, but not much to speak of.
That's a nice pass from Bunch.
Kristen Fry, the veteran, knows what to do with it as she uses the block.
And the block goes off the antenna, so the point goes to Florida State.
Fry moves back, will serve it up. Right into the block goes Heather Gilmore.
And you see, Tom, again, that's just not the place to attack. It was a poor pass. The set comes 5 feet. You don't even see the person attacking in the picture for Oregon right there. The attack comes 5 feet away from the net and went right into the block, as you said.
Well, there was a big hole in the defense there, and the Ducks found it.
As Kelly Russell with another kill for the freshman. She was averaging just about 3 1/3 kills per game and has 2 very quickly back-to-back.
Boy, nice play by Jen Anderson to keep that alive for FSU. And there's the donut again, that big hole in the middle of the FSU defense.
Fry and Pele trying to converge there quickly enough. Try to get a little pancake pass up to someone.
Well, Russell will serve again as we take a look at that hole in the defense there.
And again, Florida State set up more for a power attack, and Oregon just didn't bring it. As Lindsey Claus didn't get a lot on that, but it was effective.
4 points the difference in this game right now. That was touched at the net, I believe, so Fry had to lunge and touch that. Otherwise, she would have just let that sail on. 17-14 now. Russell on a roll right now as she serves. 4 kills, 2 digs for the freshman. All the way across to Sevillano. It was touched. In other words, it did go over. And that one comes long. Oregon lobbies for the touch. And
they're going to get the call.
They're going to get the call.
Yep. Line judge across the court called the touch and called it very quickly. Hard to tell, as Crystal Lewis, the up official, did not make the call.
Jen Anderson goes over on 2 and will take the point back right away. There was some a little bit of a delay there as they straightened out the scoreboard because the point went up for Florida State when it was Oregon's point.
All right, big rotation right here, Tom, for Seviano.
Look at that serve. So lethal right there, and a quick point. We had about a 1-point game, and quickly Florida State opens it back up again.
Again, for Florida State, same way in game one. You don't want to lose focus and start playing to the opponent's level. You know, they've done a lot of things well.
Erica Bunch just trying to keep things alive, floated it over and set it up for the Ducks.
Lindsay Kloss buried that. She played that one awfully well, too. Again, Bunch tries to keep it alive and does, but it comes right over the net, and that was a sitting duck.
First bad punt of the night goes to Barry Milligan.
Thank you very much. I'll be here all week.
Yeah. 19-16 our score. Todd Kress paces a little bit and will sit back down. Well, he's concerned about what you've talked about, Barry, and that is he doesn't want to see his team play down. He wants to see them play their game, and right in the middle into the block. The Ducks are tightening things up a little bit more in this second game at 19-17.
Well, now Florida State has become a little predictable, Tom. They've gone to the middle attack for much of the night and been successful with it much of the night. But now Oregon has been doing a better job defensively setting up for it.
From the back row, Florida State just has to float it over. We'll see what kind of attack the Ducks get. Into the middle.
Good job, Fry.
Dug by Kristen Fry. Bunch to the back. The libero digs it out. Into the double block, and Florida State will take that point.
Well, again, not a good set at all. Lauren Westendorf had to try and just push that ball over the net and did so right into a double block.
20-17. Serve comes long, though. Thursday at 6:30, tune in for Dolphins Live with Goldie and the Mad Dog. Join Steve Goldstein and Jim Mad Dog Manage for up-to-the-minute news and in-depth analysis on your Miami Dolphins. If you have a question about the Fins, you can email it to maddog@dolphinslive.com. It's Dolphins Live with Goldie and the Mad Dog, Thursday at 6:30, only on Sunshine Network. That's every Thursday for 17 more weeks throughout the NFL season here.
Well, in week one was a big one for the Fins, wasn't it?
And for Robert Edwards, what a courageous comeback there for the former Georgia Bulldog and New England Patriot. 21-18 Florida State, and FSU picks up a quick one on a good serve there, well placed.
And they won the side out, Tom, on an excellent kill by Dawn Huff, getting back into the action here and back into the offensive attack. Jen Anderson with another ace. Well done.
And again, serve reception problems right there. And the lead 5 now for FSU.
A very well placed timeout for Carl Ferreira.
Saw things slip away a little bit. His team had whittled the lead down to 2. He's got a tall task as he's in year number 3. Oregon has not been to the postseason since 1989. Went 9-21 a year ago and hasn't had a winning record since 1990. So a big chore at Oregon for him. And look at the serve that has opened the lead up for FSU.
Well, and you always have almost, when you look at the AVCA rankings, I mean, the top 2 teams in the poll right now are Pac-10 teams, and you're going to play them. You know, last year there were 4 Pac-10 teams that finished in the final top 10 rankings, and you know this team is just not able to compete at that level yet. As we see once again, the previous block, Erica Bunch right there on the block, and put it right back on Lauren Westendorf's head for the Seminole winning point.
Well, just to finish that point, Barry, Stanford number 1, USC number 2 in the current poll right now. UCLA and Arizona are 14, 15, and Washington State is 25th. So no doubt that the Pac-10 continues to be well represented as Anderson tries to add to that ace total. Great job by Pele to dig that out, and Erica Bunch finds the libero on the other side, and now here come the Ducks. Lindsey Murphy takes the big swing, but to no avail.
And that was really too bad for Oregon. That was one of their better attacks that they have had set up here in the second game.
Anderson mixing up the serve, and again, problems for the Ducks. 25-18 now as Anderson's on a roll.
A 5-point roll, in fact, after, as you mentioned, Tom, Oregon had cut the lead to 2, and now Ferreira's going to slow things down a little bit more by getting substitutions into the game. Jacqueline Jones and Heather Gilmore back into the lineup.
The ace difference there, about the difference in this second game right now. Florida State should get a good opportunity out of this, and they do. Great job to keep that alive, but Oregon's just going to have to sail it over, and FSU will reload. That one, though, is mishit and goes way long.
Yeah, not a good set that time, and not a lot that Huff could do with that. And again, on the defensive end for Oregon, credit Jody Bell, the freshman, with an excellent dig that kept that point alive.
25-19, Florida State leads it. Add 1 to that total. The last thing the Ducks need right there is to give up a quick point that way, and that was Kloss, the senior.
You can't have your veteran players making mistakes like that at critical moments when your team is suddenly back on its heels. Another passing error for the Ducks.
However, they get away with it as Sevillano can't connect.
Well done on the block. Kelly Russell, Lauren Westendorf had the double block set up, and Sevillano not able to attack it successfully.
6 points the difference as Oregon tries to even the score in our match, and once again the jump serve, and Pele no real problem handling that. Kind of a strange looking set there, but Huff makes it work.
Nice dig from Bunch.
That one hit the tape, though. I don't believe it was touched, and it's a point for the Ducks. That was not off the block, it was off the net.
Little break in the action once again as we dry up some perspiration. That's right, Tom, as you saw. Not off the block. Fry with a nice attack, nice looking attack, coming down the line again.
Yeah, she was trying to go line around the block there and just caught the tape. Diana Blank, a junior, will bring us back into action. Really a role player as a freshman was Blank, but played in 27 of the 30 matches a year ago. Most experienced of 2 returning defensive specialists for Oregon. Puts it in play. Anderson will set up top, and Florida State picks up the point.
That's a great deke, too. Good concentration for Sevillano to wait on Huff to come through and give Oregon's defense a bit of a deke there, and then put it away.
Dawn Huff to serve now for FSU. The floater short. Good swing for the Ducks. (27-22). Florida State 3 points from taking a 2-zip lead in this match. Lindsey Murphy will serve for the Ducks. She's played in 205 games in her first 2 years with this program, so about every time Oregon plays, she's out there. Kristen Fry in trouble. Heather Gilmore had the answer there.
She got a pretty sweet back set, too. Just got a little tight into the net, and the Oregon block was set up nicely.
So the Ducks trying to make a run here as they're down 4. Picked up a point on the last serve by Murphy, and here she goes again. Good touch right there.
Tom, and it's all set up by a beautiful pass. Now, Bunch does such a great job of receiving the serve and putting it right where it needs to be for Jen Anderson to be able to start the attack. It's gorgeous.
Here come the Ducks going across court, and that was one of the better attacks for Oregon. Theirs is 28-24.
Oh, that's right, but now Oregon has to do something on its own serve. You can't keep trading points back and forth here because Florida State's only 2 away from the game. Oregon has to mount some kind of an offensive attack.
Sevillano now puts Florida State 1 point away, and that was the hammer she just brought right there.
You're right. She got a beautiful set and dropped it, and now Sevillano will try and serve it out.
Pretty good person to have at the service line to try and close things out. The overpass and the fan by Aisha Carr, and you're not going to see that very much.
Well, Aisha got a little too excited when she saw that ball coming up. That just sitting right at the net. mistimed her jump and whiffed.
Yeah, I'll give her partial credit for a foul tip, but it wasn't much of a foul tip. Meanwhile, 2 points in a row for the Ducks. Florida State still sitting at game point here. Carl will hear about that one later from her teammates.
Oh, yeah.
But Florida State first needs to refocus and finish this off. And Pele just has to send it over, and Oregon's going to capitalize all the way right there. And suddenly it's 29-27, and Coach Kress is going to take a timeout. He doesn't want to see game 2 slip away.
And there's another example where just the smallest of mental errors right there. I mean, obviously, Aisha Carr right there with the game in hand just mistimed her jump, lost focus just long enough to mistime that thing. And now Florida State with its back to the wall somewhat here, as Oregon has finally gotten a little offense and a little motivation on its side.
And Kloss is a big reason why Oregon is back into this a little bit more with 8 kills in this game. That's what we didn't see in the first game. She's the one that Oregon has to go to, as you said. 12 kills in the match now for the Ducks. Well, Florida State is still sitting on game point. We'll see if the timeout pays off for Todd Kress. He didn't want to have to spend one, but he didn't want to see Oregon get any closer either. 29-27 Florida State as the Ducks will serve it into play.
Lindsey Kloss has a season high of 17 kills, so with a dozen already, she's well on her way to perhaps setting a new season high if this keeps up.
Jen Anderson, it is dropped over, kept alive by the Ducks, and Florida State will try again. Anderson this time goes to Erica Bunch. Bunch comes across the court and hits way out, and it's 29-28.
That's how Florida State has really tightened up here in the last 3-4 points. Meanwhile, all the momentum has shifted to Oregon. They're playing better defense. They're on their toes right now.
Bunch again, though. Goes right into the block and picks up the point.
So
FSU survives 30-28, but they made things much more interesting than they needed to be there. They had a 6 or 7 point lead. Let the Ducks right back into it before Bunch finished it off. 2 games in the books in Tallahassee. Jen Anderson and the Noles lead at 2 games to none, 30-22, 30-28. We're coming back to Tallahassee for more Florida State volleyball on Sunshine Network in just a moment. Stay with us.
You have the ultimate power to look better, to be stronger, to redefine your body and yourself. Introducing the Bowflex Ultimate. Quite possibly the best home fitness machine ever made. In as little as 20 minutes a day, 3 times a week, you can get real results that can change your entire body. With over 90 health club quality exercises and up to 410 pounds of resistance, it's like having an entire gym in your home. Bowflex is so effective that we guarantee you'll get the results you want in 6 weeks or less. Own the new Bowflex Ultimate with no money down and monthly payments lower than many health club dues. Call and ask for a free video and brochure, and check out the entire Bowflex lineup, or visit us on the web at bowflexultimate.com today. The new Bowflex for ultimate results.
When Florida sports fans want to get in the game, they go to SunshineNetwork.com. Up to the minute insight on all your favorite teams, stats, scores, and a whole lot more. SunshineNetwork.com.
Tully Gymnasium, the longtime home for Florida State volleyball in Tallahassee on the campus of Florida State. FSU has never defeated a Pac-10 team, but they're up 2 games to zip right now over the Oregon Ducks after taking game 1 30-22 and game 2 30-28. For the match, I had a chance to sit down and talk with the Florida State brand new volleyball coach Todd Kress as he tries to follow in the footsteps of Dr. Cecile Renaud. And here now is that conversation with the new FSU head coach. Coach, first of all, let's give you an official Sunshine Network welcome to Tallahassee, but I know it has to have been a whirlwind for you. You came in, I think you were hired on February 14th, and you probably haven't had much time to slow down since then. How's the transition been for you?
Yeah, thanks, Tom. It's been nonstop. It really has, but it's been a great experience. It's been a lot of fun, and everyone here has been so supportive, just the community and the administration from top to bottom. So it's been a great experience so far.
How long, and I know it'll be an ongoing process, but you come in, don't know the players that you've inherited, and didn't really get a chance to look at them too much, I guess, until you really get into practice and whatnot. But how long is the transition going to take in terms of getting everybody on the same page, your page?
Well, I think just for this year, it's going to take us a couple more weeks. We're getting there every day in practice. I see the offense is coming around, the defense is coming around, and just the little aspects. So we're getting there, and I just need to be patient. I'm not a very patient person, but I'm learning that's a lesson I need to learn this year. So I'm just trying to be patient and let them do their thing and catch up to stride, and we'll be ready to go soon, I think.
Does it help that you have so many seniors on the team? They're a little bit more mature maybe than if it was a much younger club?
Without question. I mean, the seniors provided great leadership for us, both on and off the court, and it's a new system for them too. Mm-hmm. So they've had some adjustment phases they've been going through, but as far as the leadership and just some of the challenges that we've faced, we look to them a lot each day in practice.
This, of course, is a tremendous opportunity for you to come into the ACC and take over a Florida State program. Obviously, that's a big plus. But you replaced somebody that was here for 26 years, and all she did was win 635 matches. So there's some big shoes there.
Yeah, 635 matches and 26 years, and all the banners, like I said, tell our kids, those are all because of Cecile. And so we do have, the transition has been very smooth, but we do have big shoes to fill. And we realize that. We want to do our own thing. But the one thing that we do want to do is continue to bring in the caliber of student athlete that she brought in. She brought in great talent, but she also brought in great people to represent this program. So we want to continue that tradition as well.
Given your background and now coming down to the Southeast and competing in the ACC, what are your plans in terms of areas that you want to recruit? Obviously, you got into the game late this year, but down the road, what are the key areas you're going to focus on?
Well, we already have 3 commitments this year, which of course I can't talk about. 3 for the early signing period. They'll sign in November. And they're from all over, Texas, South Carolina. We're looking, obviously, the state of Florida. We're going to focus here, try to get the top 2 or 3 kids out of the state of Florida every year. We're going to look at the Midwest, Ohio, Illinois, my roots, Indiana, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Texas, and California. So we're going to focus on those 4 areas and go at it hard in those 4 areas.
I'm going to ask the expert this one, since it'll be easier explained by you than me. The new change this year that the NCAA made with the libero, how has that worked out in terms of how it affects play, and do you like the change?
It was an international rule, and we've adopted a lot of the international rules. The scoring format was the first with the 30 points, and now the libero, and I just think it provides another opportunity for student athletes to compete. It gives our DSs a chance to stay on the court the entire time instead of just being out there for 3 rotations. And I like it. The speed of play, we don't have that sub where they've got to run up and the officials have got to blow them into play. It's right. It's instantly. They just run in and off the court, usually with our middle blockers. And the kids have adjusted very well to it. And I think all the programs have across the nation. Everyone's embraced it.
We're obviously early in the season right now before you get into the conference play. The next couple of times we see you on Sunshine, or a couple more times when we see you on Sunshine later on this year, it'll be in ACC matches. Your team's picked, I believe, 5th in the preseason poll. Give us a scouting report on the way the ACC shapes up, and I know you haven't seen those teams yet, but how do you think you'll fare?
Well, just looking at some of the early season results, Duke and North Carolina seem to be leading the pack right now. They're both undefeated. North Carolina just had a huge win against Wisconsin, who was top 10 in the nation at the time. Duke has blown through everyone in 3 games, so they're playing very well. Maryland's off to a quick 6-0 start. Georgia Tech is tough year in and year out. So I think those 4 teams are if you're gonna win an ACC championship, I think you're gonna have to go through those 4 teams. But we want to have something to say with it. We want to make sure that people realize when they're coming into Tallahassee that we're just not going to roll over for anyone this year, and we want to challenge everyone that come into our house this year.
Well, again, Coach, welcome to town. I know you won't have any off days now that the season started. Have you even taken a day off since you got to town?
Yeah, I think I've golfed a few holes out at the country club. I've been out there a little bit, but no days off. A couple hours here and there.
All right, well, best of luck as you take over the Seminole program this year.
Thanks, Tom. Appreciate it.
All right, Barry and I will be back to take a look at the highlights and statistics when we return here on Sunshine Network. Stay with us.
Why do we call this a freeze? Because it's cold. Then why do we call this chilly?
We don't need to bribe kids to eat here.
Steak and Shake, famous for steak burgers.
Tom and Mel training for a challenge. SunshineNetwork.com. Field Goal Challenge and Quarterback Challenge. Log on to SunshineNetwork.com and take the challenge, because football's safer on the web.
We're at the intermission between games 2 and 3 in Tallahassee. It is Florida State and Oregon, and the home team on top 30-22 and 30-28. But Oregon really improved in game 2 from game 1.
You're exactly right, Tom, in a lot of different areas too, and one of those in their blocking and overall defense, but they're attacking. You know, they only hit 120, came back and hit 316 in the second game, as we see now Florida State on the attack. This is the beautiful set we were talking about from Jen Anderson, at least 15 feet away, and Bunch able to keep her eye on that, maintain her focus. That's one of her 8 kills on the night, and we see Sevillano again off the back set doing a nice job off the block there. She has 8 kills as well.
Ducks pesky in this second game, though, but there's another look at Sevillano with the heater.
That's beautiful. 8 kills. Sevillano hitting .278 for the match right now. As we see the aces heavily in favor of Florida State, something that Todd Kress said he wanted to do, but on the blocks you see Florida State has not had as much success at blocking the middle as it has had attacking the middle. And that's one of the reasons that Oregon was able to climb back into this game too, in addition to the fact that the Ducks hit .316 in game 2 and Florida State only hit .200.
Well, and part of the reason that the block numbers are down for Florida State is that there haven't been as many good attacks by Oregon.
You're right.
I mean, a lot of their attacks have come from several feet off the net when you're not necessarily challenging with a block.
Kristen Fry right now with a team high 10 kills and 19 attempts for a .368 average. I tell you, Tom, Lindsey Kloss, did she pick it up or what? 12 kills in 18 attempts after having just 4 in the first game. She had 8 kills in the second game and is hitting .667 for the match. There you see Kristen hitting .368 for the Noles, a team high 10 kills, also has a couple of digs as well. Erica Bunch, Jen Anderson, each with 4 digs for the Noles, leading the way in that category.
Kloss's career high in kills is 20. But if she plays this game 3 the way she played game 2, she'd be right there. Heather Gilmore will serve up the action to start game 3. See the numbers for her tonight. Never been a starter prior to this year for Oregon, a junior from South Jordan, Utah. And we are underway. Jen Anderson has to come over on 2 because it was not the greatest initial pass in the world, but she does a nice job to pick up the point.
And now, Tom, we see, as you take a look at Jen, the libero for Florida State here, freshman Jennifer Orlowski, the 5'11" freshman from LaPorte, Indiana. She had taken over that position early on in this season and had really kind of played very well and looked to inherit it before we saw Serena Pele come out and get the start tonight.
Quick start for Florida State in this third game. Jen Anderson really went on a roll in that second game with her serves, and she's trying to do the same right here. Won't get the opportunity as FSU can't connect at the net.
There is Lindsey Kloss, who has far and away been the star of the match so far for Oregon.
We shouldn't be surprised by that. Jen Anderson really couldn't do much with that at all.
Yeah, over the net, they're trying to keep that alive because she knew that was going to be another sitter right in the middle. Would have been an easy kill for the Ducks.
12 kills, no errors. That helps the old hitting percentage.
Nice pass from Sevillano.
Using the block and sending it out for point number 3.
Good quick back set, too, that Kristen Fry got a great swing on, as we'll see here, and the block out of bounds gives Florida State the point in the serve.
Jennifer Orlowski now serving as the libero for Florida State. 4-2 FSU. Serena Pele had that role in the first 2 games. Orlowski, a freshman from Indiana. Boy, and she just about wore that one.
Well, she kept it alive, and that's one of the reasons to have that libero. One of the changes, it is primarily a defensive specialist here, and she takes one off the shoulder, but almost kept it in play on the Florida State side of the net.
Did keep this one in play with a nice lunging dig. Oregon in the middle, though, goes right over the setter, Anderson, to even us at 4. What's your take on the libero? Like or dislike?
Well, you know, I like it in one respect. It keeps volleyball from becoming like basketball, where it's a 6-foot-plus sport. It keeps shorter players in the game. I tell you what, though, Tom, I don't like it at the lower levels. You know, maybe for the club level, fine, where skills are more advanced. I don't like it for the high schools, because I still think the taller girls in high school still need to develop their defensive skills to become better all-around players.
5-4 Florida State. Huff serves it up, and Florida State, some quick reflexes there to keep that alive as Chute came over on 2. And boy, Kristen Fry has done that time and again tonight with just the touch.
That's at least 4 that I remember. And again, excellent defensive work around the middle of the net there by the Seminoles to keep that thing alive and give Fry a chance for another attack.
12th kill of the match for Fry. Outside or up top goes Oregon. Aisha Carr was there the first time, and there the second time as well. Nice job defensively.
Yeah, Oregon's in the net there. Sydney Chute battling Carr coming into the net, as we'll see here. Yep. Caught it with her right wrist.
So Huff serves again. 7-4 Florida State. Jen Anderson in the right place. Sevillano.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Hey, just see how she rotated her body when she was in the air, able to keep an eye focused on that ball. Watch how she rotates and comes down the line. Winds up in beautiful form.
Great dive and save by Oregon, and Dawn Huff couldn't come up with it.
Pretty good attack, and I tell you, Tom, right here, although Florida State leads at 8-5, this is probably the highest level of volleyball that we have seen on either side of the net so far tonight. Oregon really seems to have picked it up here in game 3.
Both teams have picked it up a little bit as we say that. A misconnection inside for Aisha Carr.
Yeah, Aisha, that's set really too tight for her to try and go for the inside-out attack. She would have been better served attacking the middle.
Sevillano again, and just didn't have enough on that one as it hit well below the tape.
And that set, like we have seen so many times tonight from Oregon, brought Alex 2-3 feet away from the net, really not her premier attacking position.
And the point goes right back to Florida State on the poor serve. 9-7 FSU as they try to pick up what would be their 3rd victory in a row. Oh, they give the serve right back, though.
Yeah, service error for K-Fry, not able to keep that one from sailing long.
Sevillano over the double block. Hangs on the tape for a while and then misplayed by Florida State. We're even at 9.
Well, it caught Aisha Carr a little off balance there, and she was called for a lift. That was a good call, but a very, very tough ball to try and handle for Aisha.
Jen Anderson to Fry, and that one, was it touched?
It was touched.
Wow, that one was out by a mile, but somebody touched it.
You're exactly right, Tom. Kelly Russell, the freshman in the back row there, tried every way in the world to keep from touching it, but she just couldn't. She just couldn't resist and touched out. But you're exactly right. That ball was at least 6 feet out, just like that one.
Florida State will keep it in play, however. Well, they have to after it was initially touched. And then out of position, Oregon makes them pay.
So Orlowski returning the favor that Oregon gave to Florida State.
There's the slide, and Aisha Carr throws it down. Florida State reclaims the 1-point lead.
Off the back set, slide down the line, off the block of Heather Gilmore, out of bounds. Oh, yeah. Erica Bunch was right there for the block along with Dawn Huff. Erica right back at you.
Florida State has not dropped a game since their second match of the season against Alabama when they lost 3-1. Since then, 2 sweeps in a row, looking for a third here. And each of these games against Oregon, though, has gotten tighter, although it appears that Erica Bunch is loosening up a little bit.
I'm going to tell you what, Tom. How many times tonight have we seen when Florida State needed a big point, like to close out game 2, Erica Bunch was there. Excellent passing when she received serves. I really like the way she has come with an all-around game tonight.
Boy, the Ducks got a gift there as they just kind of floated one over from about 6 feet out, and Florida State misplayed it. 7 kills, 4 digs, and a couple of blocks for Bunch tonight. And here is Erica again, and again she finds the hole in the defense. Somebody needs to tell Erica the cameras are here every match, right?
Exactly, right over the block attempt of Kelly Russell. Erica Bunch, a very, very physical, imposing presence on that front line.
That was touched by either Sevillano or Huff, and the Ducks pick up the point. They will dry the court. Press goes out to have a conversation with Kristen Fry, and Westendorf will serve it up when we resume play. Trying to get the equalizer for the Ducks. Boy, that was a nice attack from a poor set.
I'm telling you it was. And again, Erica Bunch, the person doing the attacking, but Kristen Fry not able to complete the play for FSU. Again, some shaky passing right there, but that is just a great job by Oregon to keep that ball alive. They won't touch that one.
Florida State goes up 15-14 as we will take a break here in game 3. Homestanding Seminoles trying to get the sweep on the Ducks, but Oregon getting a bit more feisty as the match moves along. We're back to Tallahassee after this.
What makes Steak and Shake Grill guys better? Practice.
A good server can tell a lot about you by what platter side you order. Fries and chili? You're a traditionalist. Cottage cheese and salad? You feel enlightened. Soup and coleslaw? Passive-aggressive. Bean crock and bean crock? You'd be, highly unique.
Steak and Shake, famous for steak burgers.
When the Navy sought a power source for a new generation of ship, we had the right energy. When the nation called for better hurricane forecasting, conditions here were perfect. And when a life-saving cancer drug was in short supply, we had the right chemistry. How fast do ideas move? At the speed of imagination. Florida State University, ideas that move.
It was an 8-point difference in game 1, 2 points in game 2, 1 point right now in game 3 as the Ducks, it's almost as if they didn't get the wake-up call at the start of the match and showed up about halfway through game 2.
You're exactly
They're
right,
playing much
Tom.
better right now.
Exactly right. And that is what has plagued Florida State in the 2 matches that they lost early this season. You know, Todd Kress saying it takes my team sometimes so long to get started. And that is exactly what happened to Oregon out of the box.
We're all even at 15 as Florida State couldn't handle that. Ducks looking for a 7th win on the season. Murphy puts it in play. Good job defensively by the Ducks there. Carr just floats it over, and Shoot will set it up, and it is finished off nicely by Kelly Russell.
One of the best sets again of the night for Oregon. One of the best 5-6 attacks that we have seen all evening long. Nice back set on the slide, and Russell finishes it off after Oregon able to take advantage of the free ball given to them by Seminoles.
Oregon has led in this match at 2-0 in game 2, so this is their first significant lead. First lead late in any point in the game. They don't hold it for long, though, as Florida State evens it at 16.
And that's Kristen Rush, the 6'2 freshman out of Cincinnati, in for her first action.
Travis Johnson, Seminole football defensive tackle, nose guard, in attendance tonight watching the match. Of course, Travis and the Seminoles headed to Maryland this weekend to take on the defending ACC champs. Oregon has come to life here.
We have really seen the overall level of play go up significantly in Game 3, and it's because Oregon is playing better. See, once again, Sydney Chute able to recognize the opening in the Seminole defense and go over in 2 right there. Caught Florida State by surprise.
A 1-point lead for the Ducks as Russell will serve it up. She was the MVP of the tourney at Cal State Northridge. And the Ducks should get a pretty good opportunity out of this.
Well, they did get an opportunity and were not able to complete the attack.
I mentioned Florida State football. You can tune into Sunshine Network Sunday night at 7 for Primetime Noles. Join Paul Kennedy, Keith Jones, and myself as we bring you every pass, rush, and touchdown as we re-air the matchup between Florida State and Maryland. Primetime Noles Sunday night at 7 right here on Sunshine Network. We've got some Noles volleyball in the prime time right now against Oregon as they have just taken the lead back 18-17.
I tell you, Tom, Oregon has forced Florida State to do some things differently on their attack. They have been much more quick to set up the double block, set up their defense better than they did in the first 2 games. And Erica Bunch able to find the dink there in the opening on the Duck side.
Miscommunication there. Bunch thought that Jen Anderson was going to go get it, and Anderson thought the opposite. So we're all square, and the serve goes to Sydney Chute, or remains with Sydney Chute, I should say. Well, that's a quick point. They'd win the serve right back for Florida State.
Now Orlowski, the libero, goes out. Florida State with another big gun in the front line as Dawn Huff comes back in, and big error right there for Carr. Big service error right there.
Way too much on that one, and Todd Kress a little bit frustrated right now.
Oh boy, and they get it right.
He'll take that. That'll bring him off his seat.
Wow.
It's such a big difference from it. It used to be you just gave up the serve and could still play some defense, but now you give up the point with that rule change when they went to rally scoring.
Well, Heather Gilmore, not a happy Gilmore, as she goes to the Oregon bench.
Bad pun number 2 to Barry Milligan.
Thank you.
I'll give you credit. That one was a little better than the first one. You said you'll be here all week, right?
Yeah, try to be.
Ball handling error for Florida State, and it'll be a point to the Ducks.
Well, not a good decision by the freshman right there, Orlowski, electing to go over in 2 when the Oregon defense was looking right at her. No element of surprise at all.
Boy, the intensity and the precision is definitely picked up both ways.
You see Kristen Fry again off the back set with the line shot over the top of the block. And another solid kill for Fry.
Boy, a really tight pass, and there was just nothing that Chute could do with that. I mean, she tried to hang that thing up there.
You're right, and got no help from her mates right there. And boy, Florida State breathing a little bit easier right now with a 3-point lead, but not a lot. I'm impressed the way Oregon has turned its game around here in 3.
They really have turned it around. They take the timeout right there because they want to keep things close. Take a look at how FSU's opened up a 3-point lead. Bunch with the serve.
Erica Bunch again with some solid serving. And again, not a good pass as it went in way too tight to the net. Chute tried to get the set up, but her teammate in there believed that might have been either Widmark or Russell. Wasn't sure about the number. Mistimed her jump and was not able to do anything to be able to get the ball over in 3.
Florida State picked to finish 5th in the ACC this year, and later on this season we'll get a chance to see Todd Kress's team in ACC action against Duke and North Carolina. North Carolina, the defending champs of the ACC. You know, 50-year All-ACC team is out, and Florida State has a quintet of players on it. There's a good look at Kristen Fry, who has played consistent, very consistent and solid volleyball tonight.
Well, I talked about her early on. When Fry really finds her rhythm, she can be as dangerous as any attacker that Florida State has. And you're exactly right. That is sometimes more important to have that consistency, and she's had it all night.
Fry and the Noles 7 points from the match, but there is a long way to go, although that'll help.
Katie O'Neill,
well,
sophomore libero, not able to handle the serve.
That'll make a coach turn gray in a hurry when you come out of a timeout, and that's the first thing your team does.
Florida State hitting .545 here in game 3.
Pretty good swing for the Ducks there. That's more like what Carl Ferreira wanted to see out of the timeout.
Exactly. They'll get a sub here. Amanda Porter, 6'2" middle blocker, will come in and give Oregon a little more height along that front line.
Heavy topspin on that and into the middle and kept alive. Bunch will shoot it over, but
they call her for a double hit. Wow, that is a tough call on a beautiful play by Arlovsky, and then Fry to keep that ball alive. That's a tough break for Erica.
Watch the defensive sequence again. There's one great play and two.
Boy, that's tough.
24-22. The Ducks trying to crawl within one.
Terrific serve.
But Kristen Fry wins the point for FSU, and credit the defense on the serve reception. A great dig off the serve. Dawn Huff peers to the bench, gets the sign, and will serve it up now. 25-22. Up top, Erica Bunch digs that, and now takes the swing as well, and picks up the point. You know, one thing for Oregon, Barry, is that a player that's competing with the Puerto Rican national team is not with the Ducks right now, and Daria Acevedo, just a freshman outside hitter. But she will help this team when she returns. Good job there by Chute.
Now that is a sweet play by the veteran Chute, knowing that there is not another defender except Fry that was at the net right there, recognizing that there is an open court right behind her.
On the back set, Kristen Fry. Fry will serve it up. She has been very solid tonight as there is another break in the action. 3 points for the match for FSU.
Well, her offense has really been the key to Florida State maintaining, you know, a 3-4 point lead right now. I think we're getting down to the wire here. Those two players side by side sitting on the Florida State bench, I think, have been the keys tonight. Erica Bunch and Kristen Fry with another outstanding line shot right there, as Florida State now 3 points away from a 3-0 win.
See the numbers: 17 kills, 3 digs and an ace for Fry. Watch as Anderson goes with the back set, and Fry just wears out the block right there. Cecile Renaud not quite sure what to do. She's not used to watching Florida State volleyball when she can't be involved at all.
Talked with Cecile for just a couple of minutes between 2 and 3, and I said, do you feel as odd as I do? And she said yes. Very strange sitting on the other side of the Florida State bench. Kristen Fry just 1 kill shy of equaling her all-time high, 18. That set at Ball State 2 seasons ago.
Todd Press peers on, 27-23, and Fry takes something off, floats it over, and Oregon will take the point.
Well, that's feast or famine when you go with a serve like that. If it catches the defense off balance, sometimes they're very tight into the net. Otherwise, it's an easy floater to get a good pass that gives you an opportunity for a good set and an attack, and Oregon able to do just that.
So that was famine for Florida.
That was famine.
27-24. The Noles still on top.
Uh-oh.
That's a quick point for Oregon, and near collision over there with a little girl, I think.
Yeah, one of the ball girls over there said hello to Jen Anderson.
Jen Anderson says hello to Erica Bunch, but Oregon has the answer, or do they?
No.
They had the initial answer, but not the ultimate one, as it didn't come inside the antenna when they finally sent it over. Alex Sevillano will check back in, and that was not Erica Bunch, I beg your pardon, but Kristen Rust.
Yeah, solid minutes here in this game 3 for the freshman, Kristen Rust.
(28-26) now. Florida State 2 points away after Oregon takes that point.
Now, Tom, big defensive set right here for Florida State. With Chute serving. She's a veteran back there.
Jen Anderson over on 2, but the Ducks pick it up. Now Florida State a chance to set it up. And Bunch couldn't do much with it. Kind of lunged at it with her left hand there because she wasn't ready.
Yeah. She goes up and did not gauge where that set was coming very well. She got there a little late, not able to get a hand on it with her right side.
There's the right side. Yep. And she gets the waterfall on the point. Now it's match point for FSU.
Now, Tom, a huge serve for Aisha Carr. Remember, on her last rotation, she sailed one long. That's a great one.
Boy, but Oregon has the answer, and it'll remain match point for FSU, but the Ducks will have the serve. Carr went deep with the serve, and Oregon's not going to let it go at match point, but it was close.
It would have been close. Oh, no!
Heather Gilmore, and Oregon gives the match to Florida State on a serve that didn't even hit the net. It went under it.
It didn't. It didn't, and you have to figure, I mean, you know, with all due respect to Heather Gilmore, that's just a dead choke. When you have a serve opportunity there to pull your team to 29 all, and it didn't even reach the net. She didn't take very long at all to get herself set and decide what she wanted to do with that serve, and it was costly.
3 games to none. Florida State wins it, but the last 2 were about as tight as you can get. FSU picks up its 3rd win of the season. We will come back to Tully Jim to put the wraps on this broadcast of FSU volleyball. The Noles win it 30-22, 30-28, 30-28. We're back to Tallahassee with some final thoughts after this.
You have the ultimate power to look better, to be stronger, to redefine your body and yourself. Introducing the Bowflex Ultimate. Quite possibly the best home fitness machine ever made. In as little as 20 minutes a day, 3 times a week, you can get real results that can change your entire body. With over 90 health club quality exercises and up to 410 pounds of resistance, it's like having an entire gym in your home. Bowflex is so effective that we guarantee you'll get the results you want in 6 weeks or less. Own the new Bowflex Ultimate with no money down and monthly payments lower than many health club dues. Call and ask for a free video and brochure, and check out the entire Bowflex lineup, or visit us on the web at bowflexultimate.com today. The new Bowflex for ultimate results.
State Women's Volleyball on Sunshine Network has been brought to you by Steak and Shake, famous for steak burgers. We welcome you back to Tallahassee. It is over. Florida State prevails in 3. They've now won 9 straight games in winning their last 3 matches and improving their record to 3-2. It was not tight in the first game. It got pretty tight in game 2 and very tight in game 3 as we welcome you back, Tom Block and Barry Milligan. And Florida State almost let things slip away, but responded when they had to.
Well, you're right, Tom, and I tell you, we talked about being able to focus on Florida State's side, play within your own game and not play to the level of the opposition. And I think I'm really impressed with the way Florida State was able to do that. They maintained their focus and they raised their game in 2 and 3 when they needed to win this match 3-0. And congratulations to Kristen Fry, 1 kill shy of tying her career high tonight with 17. She is our Steak and Shake player of the game.
And she played very well and deserving of those honors. Congratulations indeed to Kristen and to Florida State as they pick up the victory in 3 over Oregon. Next up for Florida State as we look at the final tally on Kristen Fry, the Steak and Shake player of the game. Next up, FSU will head to FIU for a tournament which will include matches against the University of Miami and also Florida International. But for now, something to build on as they go to 3-2 and get their first ever victory over a Pac-10 team, 30-22, 30-28, and 30-28. A reminder to tune into Sunshine Network Sunday night at 7 o'clock for Primetime Knowles. You can join Paul Kennedy, Keith Jones, and myself as we bring you every pass, rush, and touchdown as we re-air the matchup between Florida State and Maryland. Primetime Knowles Sunday night at 7 o'clock.